We can't choose the family we're born into, and this fact gives us the foundation of our future and shapes our personalities. People are different, and moms are no exception. Some become a mismatch with their kids, and some make a perfect team. But no matter what the case is, we will always love our moms because this kind of love is unconditional. In this case, mother and daughter are absolute equals, behaving more like sisters. They can even compete with each other, and the mother wants it this way so she avoids actual motherhood. A reverse of the roles can also take place when the daughter takes on the supportive role and becomes the mother to her own mother, being responsible, caring, and providing other parental behaviors. This relationship is built on trust, and the mother is the first person a girl goes to with her thoughts and problems. This mother is very much involved in her daughter's life and supports her, always knowing what to say and being whoever her daughter needs her to be, a best friend, a love expert, a shopping partner, or even a partner in crime. Life has its ups and downs. When you're up, enjoy the scenery. When you're down, touch the soul of your being and feel the beauty. This week, we're talking about the ups and downs of life and how we react and deal or cope with them. True to say, partly spurred on by the week we've just had. It's included the normal ups and downs of everyday life, but on top of that, there's been some heightened ups and downs. It might sound obvious, but ups and downs of life are just part of life. However calm and stable someone's life appears, a closer look will reveal the ups and downs. We all have them because they're part of the human experience, a condition of our humanity, whether of our own making or down to the circumstances outside of our control. Well, this week we've experienced both. Every mother-daughter relationship is different. Maybe you survived the roller coaster teenage years only to realize you've come out of it closer than ever. Or maybe you're a new mom with a bored toddler on her hands. Ahead, these memory-making adventures are divided into two parts, things to do with mom and activities if you're booking for your own daughter. When her son's wife left the house, Tamara Petrovna immediately entered their apartment to find out what was in the closet that they had closed for a while and make sure that there was no one that approached her. His wife, her son, was keen to close the door, well so that no one could enter, but Tamara managed to steal the key this time, and she kept waiting for the moment when her son and his wife left for work and opened the room and tried to find out what was in that locker. The elderly woman doubted about it 3 months ago after her son's wife ran away from the hospital after her firstborn son was born. Her behavior changed. She never laughed, she became introverted and rarely spoke, and she became tense. The mother asked her son Artyom about the reason for his wife changing, but the young man told her that his wife Lena was born for the first time, so perhaps she is tense and upset, as the boy is sick and sad because of him. He promised her that this would disappear with the passage of time, but 3 months had passed and nothing had changed, so her son's wife continued to do these behaviors, closing the drawers of the closet with the key and hiding. Tamara entered the room and opened one of the drawers, and there she found many keys. Then she started trying them and trying to open the small locker. At last, she succeeded in finding the right key. When the grandmother opened the closet and searched those drawers, she found nothing but Lena's underwear, which made her surprised. Although she continued searching, she did not find anything else, which made her very disappointed, and she kept thinking if this underwear deserved of all that cover-up. Because of her, her daughter-in-law shuts the door with the key every time and locks her room door when she goes out. When the grandmother opened the last drawer, she found papers there, and then she sighed and decided to leave the room because there was nothing important. But suddenly, she decided to read those papers, and there she was shocked. It was written there that the boy Lena gave birth to is not her grandson, meaning that Artyom is not his father. Then she sat on the floor holding her head and immediately remembered when the young woman was insisting that her son get married as soon as possible, even though their son was not ready for marriage. Tamara noticed that her daughter-in-law's stomach was a bit swollen. However, she thought that she had gained weight, and it did not occur to her that she was pregnant, and in the meantime, she regretted that she did not find out at the time. Tamara closed the closet door and the room door and waited for her son and his wife to return from outside. When they were met in the evening, she went to the room, told her son that the boy his wife had given birth to was not his real son, and then she gave him the papers in her hand to read. The son was surprised by his mother's words and kept looking at her before looking at the papers. When he read them, he was shocked and looked at his wife, who covered her face with her hands at the time and started crying. Tamara approached the child, who was sleeping on the bed, and looked closely at him. It was then that she realized that she was not quite like her son and assured that it was impossible for him to be his real son, and lamented. The son asked his mother to calm down and admitted to her that the child was not his son because he had been changed in the hospital. That's why he asked his friend, Police Inspector Igor Ivanovich, to open an investigation into the matter while he was waiting. As for that child that his wife brought to the house, he is the son of another woman who put him in the hospital, disappeared, so the nurse brought him and gave him to Lena so that she would be deluded that he was her son who she had given birth to. However, they soon discovered that a doctor to adopt him had kidnapped their real son, and the nurse recommended that she give them the child that his mother had abandoned. Artyom and his wife had great pity on the little boy whose mother abandoned him because they clung to him while he stayed with them. So they decided to keep him and are now in the process of searching for their real son. The next day, Police Inspector Artyom called and told him that his investigations revealed the doctor who had kidnapped his real son and that he could come get his son back. Artyom and Lena went to get their son and left the little boy with Tamara, and when they arrived there, they found the doctor accompanied by the police inspector while the little boy was lying in a small bed. Lena hurried to hug her little boy, who had been eagerly waiting to see them for 3 months, and then Artyom approached her and hugged them together. The doctor was transferred to a temporary prison for kidnapping a newborn, while Artyom thanked his friend and returned with his wife to the house, and they're happy to get their son back. Tamara couldn't believe what was happening in front of her eyes, and she made sure that her son and his wife were right in what they told her. They were in a relationship 6 months before their marriage, so Lena became pregnant with Artyom. Lena said that her husband's desire to keep the first child because she was very attracted to him and considered him like her son, although they initially agreed to move him to the shelter when they found their real son. When you hold your baby, especially skin to skin, their body temperature depends on you. The warmth of a mother's breasts are naturally modulated to keep her baby at the perfect temperature, promoting restful sleep, optimal oxygen saturation, and saving her baby the energy it takes to stay warm. This redirects valuable calories into more critical things like growth. They took care of the 2 children and named Victor and Sergey and considered them as if they were twins. Tamara changed her bad look with her son's wife as she discovered that she was very good, and despite the fact that she had lost her son. However, she decided to keep the little one who abandoned by everyone and took care of him for 3 full months, and now she adopted him with her husband and considered them as their son. With the passage of time, everyone in the house loved little Sergey, who looked like Caucasians in his face and enjoyed playing with them. Even Grandma Tamara, who was ignoring him at first, became attached to him over time, and she loved and cared about him as she did with her grandson. The little ones, Victor and Sergey, are not completely separated as they play with each other, eat and sleep with each other, and had it not been for their difference in facial features, everyone would have thought that they were twins. What we think of as maternal instinct is a myth, and perpetuating the idea that it is real is making parenting and the choice to become one even harder. Even as that parent does their best to explain to the judge why their child is resisting the visitation schedule, it's the judge who will have to be convinced and believe that it is the child who is resisting visitation. As parents, we make sure our children learn how to read and write, and yet we often assume children will naturally develop skills like kindness and empathy. You wouldn't think that you need to be teaching your kid to be kind, but, like reading and writing, emotional intelligence doesn't come naturally to all children. Some children miss the subtle signs that they are upsetting those around them. Some children have a hard time putting themselves in other people's shoes. Some children have a hard time knowing how to be kind.